record that, Alex.
It's complicated sometimes.
Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. So it is recording. So brilliant. Again, Alex Stevens, thank you very much for doing it. Yeah, it's basically what I've been doing is I've been getting material together towards a showcase. So now you played. I remember your gig. It was a brilliant gig in Rascals.
Yeah.
That's what we did in those days.
Yeah.
Since then, the course has changed a little bit because we've gone with a new awarding body, which is Universities of Arts London.
Right.
It's brilliant. It's really good. It's still the same thing that we do, but it's you're not confined, so there's a lot more choice now for students, and they work on projects so that, instead of doing so many assignments for, different units and stuff.
Yeah.
So what we found is that by the second year, they're more likely to specialize in stuff like, some of them might record an EP, some might do a single. There's one student doing music journalism, so playing isn't what it used to be.
Okay, that's cool.
I'm trying to get kind of Rascals back on the road, but doing it in Pontio. So the first years will be playing. There'll be live performances, but there'll also be students, showing. Some of them have done music videos. And then what I thought I'd do as well was get in contact with, ex-students and get them to. To send a few little bits in, but together with that, I'm also working on resources for people to teach music technology in Wales, kind of thing.
Right.
So this is what they like case studies, or the main part of this interview would be for that, really, in a way, So,
okay.
That's
cool.
So just
I'll try my best.
Yeah, no, don't worry. It's totally, what was your journey after leaving college? How to this point?
Well, I went to LIPA and studied there for 3 years, and I loved it there. It was really good to kind of get into like a city and start like exploring like the music scene, and as much as I loved LIPA, I didn't really like restrict myself to the university. I think it's also good if you're going to uni or doing anything like that to kind of get out and go to gigs in the city and meet bands and, meet the music community and the music scene where you live in. So yeah, I went there and did that. Then I graduated in 2018. And then I got, I was in a band. I wasn't really doing my own thing at that time. I was kind of quietly writing, but I was in a band called Trudy and the Romance, which it kind of helped because they were kind of doing quite good and kind of getting quite a lot of gigs, and I met quite a lot of people, in the music industry through that. And then I joined another band after that called the Oriels, and they were doing a bit better again. So I kind of learned the music industry from that. And then alongside that, I was actually a cleaner for 2 years. But it was good because it was flexible, because I could do gigging and kind of just get by. And then I did that for a couple of years, and then I became a music teacher. I taught like piano and music theory, and then I sort of started to do my own kind of music and release stuff with that, with no pressure. But then that kind of took off, and did quite well online, and then. And then eventually I could leave teaching and kind of do that full time, really. So that's kind of it. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. But if you go back to what course did you do in LIPA?
So I think some of the courses have changed now. But I just did like the popular music course, and then in my final year, What's the word I'm looking for? I majored in songwriting and performance.
Oh, brilliant.
So yeah, yeah. But I still did production, but I kind of just kept that going at home, and
Yeah,
yeah.
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 Oh, fantastic. But you mentioned when you were a student that you were going out, you were networking, and
Yeah,
that's obviously been important. So you'd realised at an early age that you needed to get out to gigs to meet people and
definitely.
find out how the industry kind of worked.
Yeah, I think like kind of the most important thing is like it is kind of a bit who you know, and you kind of just have to meet people. And like, you know, when I first went to uni, I was so shy, but you kind of have to force yourself through that and kind of just get out, meet people, just chat to as many people as possible, and become friends with people that are doing stuff, and then kind of, you know, so yeah, I guess that's a very important thing.
Yeah. And Liverpool are very, traditionally fantastic music scene.
Yeah. I think like Liverpool's an interesting one because I think loads of people are passionate about music here, but then there are times when I feel Liverpool is a bit ignored at times, like because a lot of bands, if they come to tour, they'll kind of go to Manchester and miss Liverpool because they're so close. But then I don't know, from Liverpool you can get half an hour train to Manchester, and like you've got another community of music. So yeah, it is a good place. Yeah.
So which clubs did you enjoy performing in Liverpool?
In Liverpool, trying to think now. I love the Casimir, but that's long gone now, so I can't really.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Yeah, what places are really good now? I mean, I played my first ever gig at the Shipping Forecast.
Right.
That was good. Yeah, my first ever gig. I remember I was so nervous, like my legs were like trembling, like yeah. And then where else is good? There's actually been a new venue, like the Jacaranda. So like they own a venue. Well, they own two venues actually, but they've just opened like a 400 capacity venue
Oh, wow.
in like the Baltic Triangle, which I kind of feel Liverpool needed a bit. Kind of got like there's loads of like 200, 300 cap, and then after that there's like 1,000. There's not like
Yeah.
ground venue. So I think like that's going to do Liverpool like a world of good to have that, and like, you know, get more music coming in, sort of thing. So yeah,
because I always like that in Manchester because you've got Band on the Wall, and then
yeah,
just in town.
yeah. I think it's a shit as well because in like Liverpool, a lot of the really good venues got shut down, but then so when you see like a new venue like this opening, it's like, wow, okay, this is like really good, yeah.
Brilliant. So, you were saying that you played with a couple of bands before you actually. So that was a good experience musically, was it?
Yeah, definitely. I think like I really enjoyed playing with those bands and I loved it, but I always kind of knew I was going to do my thing eventually. But I think like I don't know, if I'd just left uni and kind of not been in those bands and kind of done my own thing, I don't think I would have gone about it in the same way, or I wouldn't have kind of learned the thing. Like I think as much as, I did learn a lot in Lipper and obviously like coming to the college, I think like there are some things you kind of just have to go out and do it. And then you kind of learn, right, how do I get a manager, how to do this? And, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Being in those bands kind of helped me when I was quite young to kind of understand how the industry worked, I guess. And, yeah.
So, brilliant. So,
yeah.
What you got to start? You're doing your cleaning.
Yeah.
you're starting to
Cleaning.
do music.
Yeah.
And what was the big moment or the breakthrough where you thought, flipping heck, I can actually become full-time doing this?
Well, so when I was teaching, I remember like one day I woke up and I didn't really realize, but I had like a tweet and it was like, Strawberry Guys, Mrs. Magic has entered the Spotify viral chart or something like that. I woke up and I was like, what? Like half asleep, I was like, what's this? And like I clicked on it and I saw like, I went on like the Spotify website and it had like entered the charts. But it was because of TikTok basically, but I never had TikTok.
Right.
It always kind of scared me a bit as an app. But like, I think basically my song just got really big on TikTok and then that caused it to go viral on Spotify and kind of have all these streams. So I woke up to that and it was mad. Like that, a couple of days later, I saw like I could see my Spotify stats and I was getting about like 10,000 streams kind of every day at that point before it went viral, which was good and I was grateful for. But then it went up by like 200,000 like in a day or something. And I was like, whoa. And then, I don't know, I actually carried on teaching for 9 months after that because I hadn't like, I don't know, I knew I was going to be able to sustain myself, but I actually really loved teaching, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just loved it. And then there was kind of a point when like I didn't really need to do it, but I still loved it. So I still carried on doing it. But then it just became too much and I just became too busy. I don't know. I actually got really panicky about it. It wasn't good. There was a period where I was a bit like, I can't cope with all this. My mum just said to me, look, Alex, don't need to teach. Like, you can just allow this to be your job. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, yeah, I'll stop. Because it was just like too much, but I just really wanted to do it all. But
yeah,
I don't know. I kind of struggled to accept that music was a valid job. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But
so,
yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, what a story. Superb. So going back to the TikTok,
Yeah.
you said you weren't really into TikTok yourself. Did you or somebody around you put a video on TikTok, or did somebody else put your music on TikTok? How did?
So I think like I think TikTok is like connected with Spotify in this way. So like any music that's on Spotify or on like platforms, you can use on TikTok, or the same with Instagram. So basically, I don't know. I didn't really understand it, to be honest, because like I posted that my song had entered the Spotify charts on my story, and then my friend was like, "Oh, do you know your song's gone like viral on TikTok?" And I was like, "What's TikTok?" I was like, "What? I don't really know what is it?" And like they were like, "Oh, it's like you should get it. It's like this video thing." And I went on it and I just didn't really understand it at all. But then I looked up my song and then it was in like 200,000 different videos or something. And I was like, what?
Wow. Brilliant.
But yeah, I think what happened was like a big influencer or maybe someone with a big following put my song on video, and then if they've got all this following, I think the thing that's really great about TikTok is, say like that video, say like an influencer or someone with a big following posts a video with a song on it, you can click the song and click use this sound and make your own video. So loads of people using the sound, and you can also click through it and go straight to Spotify, which is quite a powerful tool, really. I mean, as much as I don't really like TikTok for my own personal use, I mean, I find it a bit hectic, but I think obviously like a lot of young people are using it, and it's a very, very powerful tool. Yeah.
Wow, brilliant.
You can't really force it though. I don't know. I mean, I guess there is a bit of chance of the right person using your song, and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got last week, and my sister was here actually. She came to come visit me, and I was just sat on the sofa here with her, and I saw this girl with like pink hair, and she posted my song, and Emily was like, "Oh, what?" She was like, "What? Go back on that." I was like, "What?" And then she was like, "That's Kylie Jenner." And I was like, "Who?" I was like, "Who's that?" And she was like, "Click on her." And she's got like 399 million,
Wow.
million followers. So it's like,
yeah.
I think that's like this modern way of music getting to loads of people. Like, it's very powerful.
Yeah, gosh.
Yeah.
Going back to that time just before this happened, did you have a label? Did you have management? And how did you record the music? Was it?
So I had like a label and a manager. I still work with them now. They're the only label and managers I've ever had. They're like a small, like kind of indie Manchester, but they're just really nice, to be honest, and that's why I work with them. They're just lovely. They're like my best friends. So, so I had them. I actually met them through a band that I was in, the Oriels. I met that record label through that band, and then they knew my music, and then they got in contact with me. So maybe if I hadn't have met them previously, would they have known about me? Do you know what I mean? So I think that's why it's so important to kind of put yourself out there and meet people. Yeah. What else was I going to say? I can't remember now. I've lost my train of thought.
Yeah, so you'd been to record in a proper studio and everything. So it was the label that organised that for you.
Well, I did all the music on my own.
Right. Okay.
Just with a similar set, because obviously the college introduced me to Logic.
Right.
I think it was you actually. It was either you or
Sodri was Logic, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he is. Because you did the subsidiary diploma, didn't you? For the 16 to 19 pathway for the school. And then did you join Owen's course afterwards, or
I think I did. I think I did AS levels, and then I didn't do very well. Well, I did well in music. I got like an A in music, and then like a U in like English and sociology. And then I was like, well, I just want to go and do that course. So, yeah. And then I did that course in 1 year, I remember.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, the recording, I mean, I recorded everything just in my room. I mean, with a similar setup that you had. I don't know what the setup is now, but with a similar sort of setup that you had at the college. You know,
same Logic and IMAX.
Logic. Like, you don't. I think that's the thing. You don't necessarily need to go to like a studio to do it nowadays. I think it's so much more accessible. You can just get an interface, a MacBook, and just be able to do it. You know. Yeah. What was I saying? I think like if I hadn't had learned production though, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I think you have got to work hard at it. I remember like the college when I first found Logic and, you know, was doing all that. I was just obsessed with it. I just wanted to go in the studio every day. You know, so I think, yeah, I guess I'd say to the students, just use that studio as much as you can. Yeah,
and you know, like all of our students that have turned out to be professional musicians and have had, you know, have been successful, you put in the extra hours, didn't you? You know, that's
definitely
totally special. It's you know, I keep telling these students it's not just when you're actually in college on the lessons, you know, you've got lots of free time to go and work and do your research and practice your craft. So important.
Yeah, I remember the cleaners coming a few times and telling, right, you've got to leave now, mate.
Brilliant.
And I was there like, no, 1 minute, just 1 minute. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, and I kind of became friends with the cleaner. That was funny. But yeah, it's definitely important to. You've just got to put the hours in. I mean, yeah, especially with production, like well, with anything, but I mean, production is it's hard. Like, there's so much to it, and like it is the hours that you put in. You know. Yeah, and if I didn't have that, I don't know. I wouldn't have. If I hadn't have put those hours in, maybe I would have had to go to a studio, and
Yeah.
so I wouldn't have learned it all myself. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're, even at that young age, your songwriting was at a very high level. I remember that.
Yeah, well, thank
So,
you.
no, it really was, and you've carried on, brilliant songs.
Yeah.
But I suppose in a way, having to work at that, the production, really, really helped, as you say.
I
How,
think, yeah, I think with songwriting as well, you've just got to. I think it is just emotions. You just have to put your emotions into it. Do you know what I mean? It's just that has to fuel it. That's like coal on the fire. If you write like that, you'll never have writer's block. Do you know what I mean? Because you'll all, yeah.
So has your, the way that you approach composition changed at all, or have you seen it changing or developing? Or is it just still, like you say, the emotion is everything?
Yeah, I think like emotions, everything really. Like, I don't know. I find myself writing. I'm not really. I don't really write that much, to be honest. But I think when I do write, I'm either like really happy or really sad, and that like fuels it. And I'm like, okay, that's done now, And I think, I don't know. I think it's just really important to like connect emotions with music, and I think you can always tell, like when you listen to a song, or you can just tell, and there's something that you can't really put your finger on it, but you can just tell if there's emotional investment in it, But yeah, has anything changed? I don't know. Probably not really. I think I just try. I think I maybe know. I don't know. You never really stop learning with music. You just, I don't know. You can kind of just keep going on and on and on. I think, yeah. At the moment, I'm trying to. Oh, sorry, it's quite noisy. I'm by a main road here. There's like a hospital down there, so there's always so. At the moment, I'm trying to like learn more like classical music, to be honest, and kind of let that kind of inspire me. And I don't know. I'm kind of trying to read music a bit and kind of going back, to like the old times when I was like a kid learning music. So that's what I'm kind of doing now, and it's interesting because I'll kind of like I'm learning a bit of Debussy at the moment. So I'm like, I look at a chord in the music, I'm like, that's actually really cool. Like, what's that? That voicing, and then I'll play it, and then I don't know, try and like make a song with that voicing in or something like that. Or
Yeah,
there's just constant ways that you can be inspired. It's just yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. So when you woke up that morning and you found things are happening.
Yeah.
After that, did you find yourself getting more work, more gigs, having to do appearances on stuff? And
to be honest, yes and no. What I did have was a lot of big labels like contacted me within the space of like 3 weeks, but I actually said no to all of them.
right,
They did send a few offers, but like the splits were crazy that they were offering. I don't know. They wanted like all of the back catalogue that had been released. When it's this label I'm with now, it's their work that have done that. Excuse me. I think like it's important to check splits and contracts, and make sure it's fair. You know what I mean? And like the time frame of that. And if it isn't fair, you don't have to do it. I think that's another thing. So I'm rambling a bit now. I'm on.
No, not at all. It's very, very interesting.
I think I would say go as long as you can without having a manager or without having other people. If you can sustain it, just go as long as you can, because the more people that are involved, the less that the more money that's taken away from you, essentially. So like I think the first thing is to try and get a manager, but like it's not necessarily the be all and end all. Like there is I'll give a little secret. Like if you don't have a manager but you want to get gigs and stuff like that, make a fake email and pretend to be your own manager, or get someone else to do it, or do you know what I mean? And that really helps, because there's this weird thing where as soon as you have like a middle person, they suddenly take you very seriously, and it's so stupid. But if they're talking directly to the artist or the band, then it's not as easy.
And manager could be the bad guy, can he? You know, that the fake manager could be the person says, no, we're not having that. And,
exactly.
It's a great idea.
It's a very What was the question originally? I'm trying to remember
just that the more work happened afterwards, like, in a way. So
I think I was able to go to like South by Southwest and do like America, and then I got, from going to South by Southwest, I got like an America booking agent off the back of that, and then did a little tour. I think like my first America tour was like, it was like New York, San Francisco, and LA.
Wow.
And that was like really small, and we just kind of, and I think you kind of have to just learn a bit about how to do it. Because I think one of the venues, like the first time we played San Francisco, it wasn't all ages, like it was like 21 up, but most of my audience are like younger, like they're teenagers. So this tour I've just done now was like a 10 date. You know, we made sure it was all ages. 9 out of 10 of them sold out. But ages like that, and I don't know, I guess I've got more gigs, but also I think I've learned that even though like the streaming's going really well, it doesn't always equate to live. So like, even though that was good, like that tour we've done, I've kind of had to work up to that, and gradually, like the live, like my manager always says, you kind of have to treat it as a separate thing. But like there's some bands that won't get near the amount of streams that I get, but they'll play like 1,000 capacity venues and do really well like that. So I think you kind of have to treat them as different things. But yeah, since then I've definitely had a lot more work and a lot more gigs and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's interesting how the industry has changed, isn't it, over the years, and the different opportunities that's come around.
The internet is definitely a tool to use, especially social media. I think that is how people are like finding music now. And you know, there's like an artist, I found like this song the other day, and I was like, this is so cheesy, but it's quite like catchy, and I was kind of like, this is kind of cool in like a weird way. It's like this artist called Oliver Tree. I looked it up, and he's got like 600 million streams on this song. And I was like, never heard of him. Like, I've literally never heard of this guy. But it's like, and it's just from the internet, and it's just, it's insane.
Hey, fantastic. So you're moving to LA?
Yes.
Yeah, exciting. Are you looking forward?
Yeah, I am really excited, to be honest.
How has that come about then? Is that to do with the music?
Yeah, I mean, the first time I went to LA, it kind of been a bit of a dream. Like I've always kind of love the idea of it, and like if I see it in the films, I'm like, oh yeah, like it's a bit of me, that, you know. And like the palm trees, like yeah. And then the first time I went, I was just like blown away by it. Like, you know, the nice bits of it. Not that there are certain areas of LA that are like pretty grim, but like the nice area, I was like, this is cool. Like, this is really cool. And like, yeah. And then I spent quite a lot of time there last year. But I guess, yeah. I mean, I went there because I played a gig. Well, actually, no. Why haven't I said that? I was very intrigued by it because it was my top city for listeners.
Right. Okay.
So, and I think I kind of, from having been there like a few times, I kind of get why. Because it's quite like, because it's really sunny and everyone's like really chilled out there. Everyone's just listening to like chilled out music all the time. They're like, yeah, man, like, you know, so it's just really chilled, you know. And when I went there, it just confirmed that, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. And like all the music that goes on there is like more chilled. I think like in the UK, there's been like a rise of like post-punk at the moment. There's a lot of post-punk, and like that's kind of like the mainstream thing at the moment in like indie music and stuff. And I love it, but I don't know how much room that is like for my music. Yeah, I think it's definitely done better in America.
Wow.
Yeah, and especially like LA and like San Francisco and like, yeah. Yeah.
So your your management and label will still be here, so you'll be having meetings like this with them, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be very sad to I guess I will be sad to like, I'm not leaving them, but I mean the time difference will definitely be a bit of a hit, but I think, I don't know. I mean, I'll be coming back. I'm going to come back. I'm going in February, coming back in April, coming back again in July. So I think I'll kind of be doing a bit of both. I'll like be living there a bit, living here a bit, and kind of, do you know what I mean? I'm very grateful to be able to do.
Well, good luck there. I really hope that you enjoy yourself.
Oh, thank you.
God, yeah. And what's, have you got any albums coming out, or something that we can look forward to?
I'm kind of like demoing stuff at the moment. It's kind of been quite slow doing this second album, but I think I've been so busy as well, to be honest. So I haven't really. It's kind of tricky, like writing. You kind of have to like be doing nothing, and then like you can't. I don't know. I can't write like if I'm on tour or something. I just. Yeah, but I think I'm going to be recording at the end of this year, and I've got 3 tours this year, which is got like a Europe tour in April, another US tour in May, and
wow,
then
fantastic!
A tour in like August, I think, which is crazy. Yeah.
Oh, superb! So, do you enjoy touring?
Yeah, I do. It's like, it's kind of like a weird thing because like you're just shattered, like the whole time. Like you're never not tired. Like you just have to kind of give in to exhaustion and just be, yeah, I'm just tired again. But it's like, it's so worth it, like all the traveling and like playing the gigs, it's, yeah, it is really good. I don't know if I could ever do a month or like too long though. Yeah, it would be too much.
So, who do you take with you on tour then?
I take like my managers come. I've got 2 managers. So like what they'll do is like one of them will do one half of the tour and then the other will do the other half. And then a tour manager to do all the driving and stuff like that. And then normally he'll like do the merch as well. If I'm touring with a band, then I'll tour with the band. But to be fair, I've been really been enjoying like playing gigs on my own recently. Like the whole last tour was just like a solo tour. But I loved it. It was just like kind of realizing that you can just have really quiet music and people will listen. But there's kind of a way you have to go about it. Like I'll kind of go on stage and I'll be like, "Hello, how's it going?" You know, and I'll go, "Okay, we start." And you know, and then they're like, "Okay, this is a quiet show," and they will be quiet. Then that's something that's taken me a while to kind of figure out how to perform as a very intimate, like, piano artist. But yeah, and then a band, or I don't know, I did play with a string quartet actually in 2 of the venues, in the New York shows and LA shows. I played with the string quartet. That's about it, really.
Yeah. When you do tour with a band, is it the same band or a different band each time, or do you have a gang of musicians that you?
I've got like a group.
Right.
Yeah. They're all my friends, to be honest. I think that's another good thing. Is like, just get your friends involved, and like, you know, that's kind of like the best way to have a band. I find, I don't know, I feel like having session players would be a bit weird. I'd be a bit, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if you can get your friends involved, then that's great. And also, get people that are involved. Oh, sorry, get people that just love your music. That's what I'd say to people. Like, if they're passionate about it, then they'll be willing to, you know, come and do gigs and stuff. Because it's hard. Like, there's going to be, you know, at the start, like, I couldn't pay any of my band members because we couldn't afford it. And, you know, people are just doing you favors, so they have to love it. Otherwise, it's not, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant, man.
Yeah.
Hey, superb. Thank you very much.
Oh, no worries. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there? I can't think of anything else to ask you. I think
Yeah. No.
it's well covered, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think I've got anything else. I don't really know.
So maybe could I ask? Would you recommend a course, a music course in Coleg Menai?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, it taught me. I don't think I would have ever. When would I have done production? I mean, that course introduced me to like production, and I think that was like one of the most amazing bits of that course, because I just spent so much time in that studio, and like, you know, I think I've still got some of the early recordings, and it's quite interesting. Some of them I'll listen back to, and I'll be, it's pretty good actually. I'm like, I did all right. Like, considering how young I was like, it's not bad, but it is like all the facilities are there, so just use it and you know, put in the hours. That's what I'd say. So,
yeah, superb. One last question. 1970.
1970.
What's that about, man?
To be honest, I just like the jumper and the.
Yeah, it's nice jumper. No, I just wondered. I was like, no, he's not that old. Bloody hell.
And I guess I have a bit of an obsession with 60s and 70s stuff at the moment. So,
Oh, superb.
great time for music as well.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Alex, thanks so much for
Thank you very much
talking to us, man. And it's lovely to see you again. It's been a long time. And, just wish you all the very, very best, man. We're really made up and happy for you, you know, that you're doing so well and enjoying yourself more than anything. I hope that the rest of it goes just as well, you know.
Oh, cheers, mate. Thank you.
Very nice one.
Right.
I'll see if I can stop the recording now.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Stop recording. There we are.